Hello. Sorry I'm a little bit late. I have got my little boy with me today. Oh gosh. And I was not ready, trying to homeschool. There's a lot going on in my local area at the moment. There's a lot of flooding, there's been snowing, everything has been happening. But I am here. Hopefully I'm going live in the right places. As usual, as you jump on, if you can say hello to me, let me know who it is. It's really helpful for me if you give StreamYard, which is the platform that I'm using to go live, permission for me to see your beautiful face and your name. And you'll find the link for that on some of my other lives that I've done. But if you are here, that is good enough for now. So it is day 3 of the challenge. And I'm super duper excited. Like I say, today I've got my little boy with me, so we may get disturbed. Such is life at the moment. How is everyone feeling? Let me know how everyone is doing with homeschooling, lockdown. If you're self-employed, you've probably got a tax return that is weighing over you. I've got mine still to do. I'm going to do that over the next couple of days. It's been an amazing week for me with Exhale. We've had instructors join us and sign up to become part of our beautiful team from places in the world that we have not yet exhaled in. So we've now got instructors, if you didn't know yet, in Northern Ireland, in Wales, in South London, and parts of Yorkshire that we've not had people teaching before. So it's a really exciting time for us, for our brand, and just in general. We're taking our skills and the beautiful energy that our instructors have out into the world. So let's see who's on, see what's happening. Hi Jodie, hi Emma, hi Chloe. Emma's saying she's got homeschool and the tax return, same as me. But we're going to get there, we're going to get through it. I'm going to do this first though, because today is the day that I'm actually most excited about. So all of the 3 days, today is the content where I'm like, oh my gosh, I can't wait to share this with you. But I just wanted to go over what we talked about yesterday, if you haven't managed to watch the live yet. We talked about how to build a brand that basically does the legwork for you. Hi, Barbara. Oh, you're in Llandudno, North Wales. I love North Wales. I've got a lot of family over that way as well. What's the weather like over there? Over here, so I'm in Warrington, we are flooded everywhere. Like 2 roads down from me is total flood. So all last night I was like, oh my gosh, is it going to come this far? Is it going to come this far? But so far so good. Let me know how you are over there. Chloe's saying she's done her tax return but needs to do the hobbies. Oh my gosh, imagine having to do 2. I couldn't. So yesterday we spoke about how to build a brand that does the legwork for you, so that your clients are coming to your classes, they are falling in love with what you do, they really understand what you stand for, so that they're then going out and promoting your classes or your service or your one-to-ones or your packages or whatever it is for you. That is what's happened with me in my business. All of the big contracts that I've had with ITV, Google, the festivals, they all came about through essentially good old-fashioned word of mouth, because people came to the classes, they loved what we stood for, but then our brand was so consistent across all the platforms. We had really good credibility with the way that we have sought out accreditation, with the way that we have shown our testimonials and our client list and things like that, so that when people like Fern Cotton were looking, thinking, who should we have at our festival? When one of her staff members said, how about Exhale? She was able to then look at all of our platforms, all of our content, everything was consistent, and she, same as everyone else, fell in love with what we do. So we spoke about how to make sure that your brand can do that for you. So let's have a look. It's my first time. Would there be a replay? Yes, there will. Barbara, are you in the group? If not, can one of the instructors, whoever's watching, can you help Barbara out by giving her the link, if possible, to get in the group, and then she'll get automatically, you'll see the replays there. And I'll have your email then, and then we can send you out the replays by email. Barbara's saying it's sunny and it's windy. Chloe's saying, and Emma's saying we had snow. We had snow last night. I was like, oh my gosh, it's flooding, and now it's snowing. But it's nice for the children, isn't it? So back to yesterday. So we talked about making sure your brand is authentic, true to you. Really talked about being really visible, but also in the ways that you are being visible, just being vulnerable and open about your journey and your story and your uniqueness, all the things that make you you, because that is what we need, that type of vulnerability. We need that type of openness in order to build connections and relationships with people. So spoke about that yesterday. We also spoke about the credibility factor. We also spoke about being consistent, which I've already just mentioned. But one of the other things that we spoke about right at the end that you might not have caught if you didn't have time to watch the whole way through, we spoke about how important it is to make sure that you have a really compelling vision of the future, and that every day you check in with that vision and that you take action steps towards that vision each and every day. We also spoke about how important it is within our instructor community, so for our meditation instructors, to work in a really balanced way where they are leading with their feminine, so they are leaning in terms of their inner wisdom. They're sitting, they're getting quiet enough to be able to hear themselves and their own true dreams, their own values, so that they're able to communicate that really authentically. If you don't know what you stand for, how am I going to be able to communicate that, to create this brand, to create these relationships, to create this impact out in the world? So one of the things that we're really passionate about is obviously providing our instructors with a kind of a framework to work around, where we say, let's get still, let's get quiet, let's meditate, so you can hear that inner wisdom, so that you can reconnect with who you really are, beneath the layers of what society expects of us, what society tells us to do, and society's pulling us this way and that way and the other way, saying this is important, you should talk about that, should be more like this. We're able to say, hang on, hand on my heart, what's important to me, what do I stand for? So that's working with the feminine. Another way in which we work with the feminine is about connecting with the synchronicity that exists within the world, taking those divine breadcrumbs that the universe leaves us. The universe kind of hears our prayer, if you like. When you have a dream, a vision, it's put out there into the world, and then the universe will throw you a rope, it'll throw you a line, it'll throw you divine breadcrumbs, if you like. But it's up to you to be able to see them. We're so busy doing and keeping up, and we always feel like there's always something extra to do, that we miss these signs. So we really encourage our instructors and anyone that's watching really to really work with their feminine. Lean out, slow down, so that you can notice those synchronicities, because they're guiding you the right way towards your dreams. But then we also spoke about sometimes you've got to go into your masculine energy, and this is something that we all have, whether you're male or female. You are equally masculine, equally feminine, and you get to choose in your life and each day and each moment which way you're going to lean. Obviously, you know, we are predominantly a female team, so there's a lot of feminine energy going on, but we also need to tap into our masculine energy as well. And the masculine energy is the energy that allows us to take massive action. So we spoke all about that and how important it is to kind of balance between the two. So that was yesterday. Barbara's now in the group. Thank you, Chloe, for sorting that out. We are now going to move on to how to develop your own signature style. And also, we're going to talk about why just simply reading out a meditation script is absolutely not going to cut it in terms of generating you the income and the impact that you actually deserve. So that's what we're going to talk about today. It's got to be more than this, just reading out a script. We're also going to talk about how to develop your own signature style. We're also going to talk about how to honour the teacher-student relationship and why that's so important to your success. So that's like the key to everything. So we're going to talk about those three things. So as we go through, even if you're watching this on a replay, so I've had maybe about 10 different messages from people saying, I can't join you live, but I am going to watch on the replay. So to get the most out of this challenge, if you watch on the replay, comment as if you are live. Talk to me. The more that you engage with me, whether it's live or whether it's on the replay, the more this is going to go in. So there's research that says that when we actually are actively involved in our learning, we take it on much more quickly. You're therefore much more likely to take action and create the business that you deserve. So the first thing I wanted to speak about was that I see so many courses, like meditation teacher instructor courses out there. And essentially when I've looked through the content, and in fact, I've done one of these courses as well. Essentially what they do is they just teach you how to read out a meditation script. And so a lot of people go out into the world and that's what they do with their meditation business. They literally just get their scripts. If they've written them themselves, that's amazing. But that's what they're doing. Their class is just essentially them taking them on this guided journey, which is powerful. Absolutely, do not get me wrong. 100% it is creating a difference. It's powerful. It helps people. But when you think about the world in which we live in right now, there are so many apps. There are so many YouTube channels. There are so many Instagram streams, social media streams, all that kind of stuff. Why would I, as a client, keep turning up to your meditation sessions if all you are doing is simply reading out a script? Okay, that's the top and bottom of it. We know it's powerful. As meditation teachers, we know that reading out those scripts are going to change they're going to bring about change in that person. They are going to really start to remove some of the limiting beliefs that we hold deep in our subconscious. We also know that it changes the brain waves in our brain, so we're able to de-stress, so we're able to go back to what we were doing afterwards, feeling energized or feeling released or whatever it is that teacher's intention is. We know that happens, but I can get that from anywhere. So this is about you having a look at your own teaching practice, or if you're thinking about becoming a meditation teacher, thinking about how can I expand on that and ensure that people have a reason to keep coming back to your classes. So one of the things that we do at Exhale is that we create an experience. And this is so important now in terms of the way that we're now having to all teach online. And this would be relevant for fitness instructors, dance teachers, anyone that's now having to take a kind of a class-based, usually face-to-face type business. Anyone's having to take that now online. This is really important. How I get invitations to do Zoom quiz. My little boy's on Zoom for school, then there'll be a Zoom workshop, there'll be a Zoom this, a Zoom the other. I think I just don't want to do Zoom anymore. I don't want to just turn up for another Zoom class. But what I will show up for is an experience. So one of the things that we're really proud of at Exhale, and one of the things that we are really looking to develop and explore and expand further, is creating almost like an immersion for our clients. We're giving them a reason to keep coming back. We're using lots of different elements to provide not only a place where deep healing and transformation takes place and relaxation takes place, but also to create a space that feels luxurious, to create a space where they're able to connect, where we're able to rebuild and find some sense of community again. So it's looking at what you're offering and thinking about, how can I sort of supercharge this? How can I make this feel like something that I'm going to go back to time and time again, but it's still going to feel brand new. I'm still going to learn new things. I'm still going to get an experience that I cannot get just by logging onto YouTube. Because if I'm just sat there reading out a script, I might as well be doing that lying in bed. If as the client, I might as well just be logging into YouTube with my headphones in, listening to that before I go to sleep. So what we've done with Exhale as well is that we set really powerful intentions for our sessions. So usually what happens with our instructors is that when they create their class, or when they're thinking about their class, they have a theme in mind. So they have a specific transformation that they want to see in their clients. But then also what they're doing, and this is true whether we're operating online or face-to-face, is we're also looking at all the details. So we don't just teach in dusty old church halls, you know. We find the environment is so important. We spoke a little bit about this on day 2 and day 1 in terms of the level of trust that your clients need to have in you as a meditation instructor if you want them to be able to go deep enough to let go of all these layers of judgments and expectations and all of that stuff that we put upon ourselves, that we want to let go, all those personas that we work in, that we live in, that we play in, you know. To be able to just sit and let go of all of those takes a lot of strength and a lot of courage for that client. The environment which you are placing them in absolutely makes a difference. So it's about creating something that feels safe, and looking at your ideal client, looking at the people that you want to come to your classes and thinking about, what do they appreciate? Is it the aesthetics? Is it about the music that you use? Is it about fragrance? Like what makes it feel like this is something special to them? So I'm going to talk more about that in a minute and break that down a little bit more as we go through. But in terms of Exhale, we provide an experience which is way more than just us reading out a script, because we combine breath work, we combine movement. Our playlists are curated. We spend hours, and I love it, but we spend hours looking through music, trying to find music that kind of lulls you, calms you, makes you feel at home, makes you feel like you know, because the music that you might listen to anyway outside of meditation class. So one of the things that we really are famous for is our music. So we do spend a lot of attention to detail to those kind of things, but the music supports the meditation. The movement allows us, we're opening up at the chest, which allows us to release deeper, to release further. So it's an immersive experience. It's almost like a 360 experience. It's not just us lying there. You're actually participating in that letting go process. So when I'm reading a script to somebody, they fully surrender to just allowing the meditation guide, the meditation teacher, to take them through. What we do at Exhale is we empower people by providing an experience which they are fully engaged with all the way through. Yes, we still switch off the prefrontal cortex, the thinking part of the brain, because our clients that come week on week are able to internalize our movement sequences and our breathwork sequences in such a way that they are flowing through the sequence and structure of the class on automatic, which allows us amazing access to their subconscious. But my point is that when you are thinking about your teaching style, when you are thinking about what you're going to go out and offer in the world, how can you make that a fully participatory, is that the right word? Fully immersive experience for your clients. So as I say, we use breath work, we use movement, we use music. We use aromatherapy where it's safe and practical to do so. And what the girls are doing at the moment, our instructors also, are providing aromatherapy recipes ahead of time. So we're saying we're going to be using this, we're going to be using lavender, we're going to be using, I think it was Chloe, who might still be on, I don't know if she's hopped off. But Chloe was going to give her clients a list of things that they could get into the house to make sure that we are still hitting all of those senses and it's still a full experience. And what's really amazing is all these things are so curated. We're not just randomly saying try lavender and use, let's put this track on and let's do this movement. Everything is layered. Everything is intentional to create a deeper experience for our clients. So that's my first point, is let's making, oh, she's still here. Am I right? You are going to use aromatherapy, let me know. Let's think about, that's your first point really, is how can I move from just reading script to creating an experience for my clients that they are fully involved in that process of stripping back, that process of release, that process of healing. It's coming at them from all angles, but we're in a really beautiful way that honors who they are, that honors that they're on their own journey of healing and they're going to heal on their own timeline, but allows them to go deep if and when they wish. So how do you then go about picking, I suppose, what you would include in your classes? So when I first started, it's one of the biggest mistakes that I did when I first started out teaching meditation. I did that. I just went out and taught and read out script, and then people came and they had beautiful night's sleeps afterwards. People enjoyed the process, but it wasn't enough to make them go home and say to their friends, you want to come to this thing. You know, it wasn't enough to create that kind of momentum that you need to have a really successful relationship. And I was just doing pretty much everybody else in the meditation space was doing exactly the same thing. So what I want you to think about is, where is the gap? So with Exhale, we entered what was quite a crowded marketplace, you know, and as I say, it's crowded by YouTube, Calm app, and all those kind of options that you've got in terms of meditation. But what we were able to do with our brand, and this is something that I really want you to think about, is what is missing from the meditation marketplace right now. So what we were able to do was look at all, I just looked at all my friends, my family, and just said, why don't you meditate? Because I knew it was powerful. I knew it helped me. I knew it helped me get over postnatal depression. I know that it helped me with my anxiety. I know that it helped me be more productive and more creative and essentially better at my job. So I was like, why aren't these people meditating? And what people would come back to me and say every time was, it just doesn't feel like me. Like, I know it's good, but it's just not me. I started to think to myself, okay, how did I make it feel more like me? And it was because I broke a lot of the traditional meditation rules, I suppose. I wasn't sat bolt upright, cross-legged meditating. I wasn't doing it in silence. And all those things that I kind of hid about my practice because I thought it wasn't very spiritual to meditate in that particular way. When I started teaching and sharing with others meditation, I still hid those bits because I thought that meant that I wasn't good enough as a meditation instructor. But actually, that became my power, that became my strength, because when I started to integrate those things that made it easy for me, that made it enjoyable for me, that allowed me to just recline, listen to music that I already loved, you know, use a technique that was easy and effortless, that didn't require laser vision focus. When I started to share that with people, that's when I filled that gap, because people were like, oh my gosh, all those things that put me off learning to meditate, you've got rid of. I don't like the whale music, you got rid of it. I can't sit bolt upright, we got rid of that. And what's really interesting is that their practice has become much deeper than it probably would have been had they forced themselves to sit in those situations where they felt uncomfortable. Because the whole point is that we are allowing our clients to feel safe enough to let go. If they don't let go, they're not going to be able to access their healing state. So what we did was allowed them to get there much more quickly, because we allowed them to feel comfy. We allow them to breathe and move and flow. So it's more like a moving meditation initially before we ask them to sit and use our self-led meditation technique, which is amazing. If you don't know what I'm talking about, oh my gosh, get yourself to an Exhale class, because it is powerful. I did speak about that yesterday and on day one as well, actually, so I won't go over it again. But these are the things that I want you to consider. Where is the gap? What is stopping? When you speak to people, why don't they meditate? Remove that thing that puts them off. But it needs to be tested, and it needs to be fully supported by a training team. So what do I mean by that is, don't just go out and do anything. Please make sure that you have support. So we have a physiology teacher that works with us, and she provides us guidance on what type of movements to do, who is they're suitable for, who they're suitable not, provides us with alternatives. We are also fully accredited. So, and we also went out like it was tried and tested. So things have been adjusted to suit and make sure that everybody is safe and also enjoying the practice. So that's the caveat. But essentially, you want to find a niche, which brings me on to my next point. So where do you find your niche? How do you know? Other than going out and asking, it's really important that you think about and use and draw on your experience when you're thinking about where I should position myself in the market, what I should focus down on, what is the gap that I'm filling, what makes me unique. So you might have heard people talk about USP. That's what I'm talking about right now. What is your niche? What is your special thing that you provide in your classes that makes you different to everybody else? Or another way to niche is to think about, right, what type of people in particular do you want to help, do you want to serve? Or what type of transformation do you want to see in people? If you can hit all three, then you're definitely going to be onto a winner. So when I first started out in business, is another one of my business fails, was I tried to market Exhale to everyone. Everyone should come, because I know, as you guys know, meditation is powerful. I was like, everybody needs to know about this thing. And then my coach would say to me, well, actually, if you are talking to everybody, if you are talking about all these different benefits all the time, your message is not powerful enough to stop people, to get them to engage and connect with you, to want your thing enough that they actually take action. You talk to everybody, it doesn't hit home enough. What we want to do is talk to people about something that's very specific so that you can be consistent every day. Remember, yesterday we spoke about how important consistency is. So it's the same today. People need to feel that they are aligned with you, that they stand alongside you, that they need and want a similar thing to you. And we can't possibly get people to feel that in the depth of intensity that you need them to feel that if you're trying to hit everybody. So I want you to really think about, who is my ideal client? And the easiest way to think about that is, it's usually, and this is true for all of my instructors, it's usually you, but a couple of years ago. And the beauty of that is that you understand what it was like to be you. You understand where that person is right now, so you know exactly what they need, so that you can look at your meditation experience and add in things that are going to support them and add value to that person, because you were that person. So I really want you to look back and pick one type of client. As I say, it doesn't have to be, but it's usually you a few years ago. Think about the language that you use. Think about the things that you were struggling with. Think about the things that kept you up at night. And provide an experience which solves all those problems, but really speaks to that person in the language that you used then. It's really powerful then, and makes it really easy for you to be able to share your own journey, and in such a way that it'll resonate with people. There are 1,000,001 ways to do this, but essentially just getting open and being vulnerable about your own journey. That's what's really made the difference for me. The more that I talk about how I ended up here, the better, in terms of the number of instructors that we have coming working with us, the number of clients that I see and that my instructors see. It all comes down to that, a really strong and open relationship with your clients. And my niche, to help you understand how I did it, I looked at how I felt just before I really started to use these meditation practices, just before I started to meditate in that way I described before, when I was sat using music and I was chilling, I was reclining rather than sitting bolt upright. I was in a place in my life right then, in those moments, where I felt really disconnected to who I was. I just had a baby, had no sleep. I was a single mum, so I had, it was a lot of pressure. And some of you will know this story already, but I remember that it wasn't until my little boy was about 6 months old that I actually remember looking over into his cot as he was sleeping, and my heart did that little flip where I was like, oh my gosh, I love this child so much. But it took me 6 months to get to that state. That's how blocked I was. That's how disconnected to my soul and to my heart space I was. And one of the reasons for that was that I was trying to do everything myself. I was trying to keep up with the Joneses. I was trying to work. I was trying to be an amazing mum. I was trying to put a face on. I was trying to I was just living a lie, essentially. And these sort of like layers came on top of my heart. And ultimately, actually, this is true for a lot of people. A lot of the anxiety, a lot of the depression that we see, a lot of it is clinical. Absolutely, don't get me wrong. But some of it is like that low level kind of sense of like just kind of like low mood. A lot of that comes from that disconnect between the person that you're putting out there and the reality of what's happening to you on the inside. So in terms of how that relates to my niche, one of the things that I'm really powerful about, and one of the things that informs the structure of the Exhale class, that informs all of our meditations and the breath work and the music that we choose, all those things that I've already said, is all with the intention of allowing people to connect with who they are. So can you see how my journey has led me to form a beautiful signature style that's all around helping people do the thing that meditation also did for me? And that's why I can speak so passionately and openly about it, is because I know it's true and I know it works and I know it's needed, because I was that girl. So I am my ideal client. And in terms of the instructors that come to me as well, it's the same thing again. It's all about reclaiming who you really are, knowing that you are enough despite what the outside world might tell you. That is what Exhale is for. So yes, you're going to grow an amazing business. Yes, you're going to serve and create magic for so many people in the wider community, and those ripple effects that just roll on and on and on. Yes, you're going to do all of that, but you're also going to reconnect with who you really are. So it's about you looking at your own journey, looking back at who you were a couple of years ago, looking back at what you needed then, and creating a niche. So by niche, I just mean making sure that you are a consistent message and a consistent intention and a consistent outcome or transformation that your clients will see. And going back and doing that before you design your meditation experience. And that will become your signature style. The way that you teach, the things that you include in your classes, have a sprinkling of you in them. And this is also really important. So this leads me on to my next point, which is about the student-teacher relationship and why that is absolutely key to your success in terms of running a profitable, spiritually inspired business. So we always talk at Excel, yes, we've broken the rules a little bit. Yes, we've created our own rules. But we honor ancient traditions. We honor the things that are important. We honor the roots of this practice. And we do that in lots of different ways. But one of the most powerful ways in which we do it is that we honor the ancient practice of meditation teacher and student. So what on earth do I mean by that? Essentially, what I'm saying is that when you are picking your niche, it's really quite scary to niche down to say, I'm actually only going to work with this type of person. I'm only going to provide that outcome, when we know that there's so many people to work with, so many people that need these tools, and also so many different ways of doing it. The temptation is to try and do them all, as I've already said. But what we really encourage our instructors to do is to honor the fact that meditation students, clients, find their teachers. The meditation teacher, the sage, the monk, the guru. And by saying this, I'm not saying that we are in any way guru status, because we're absolutely not, but we're just honoring that practice. The guru doesn't go out looking for its students or for his students, for her students. The students find the teacher when the time is right. And what that guru does is share their own best practice, lessons and wisdom. Yes, from ancient tomes, yes, from ancient scripture books, just in the same way we do. We've just, the language that we use, the way that we communicate it is different, it's more modernized, but it's still the same teachings. But what we also do in the same way that they used to do, so the teacher shares knowledge from their own lived experience. So it's all about trusting in that relationship, knowing that your clients will come to you based on your lived experience. We operate in a completely different world right now than they used to do. You know, we've got the opportunity to share our story, to reach and help and serve more people, but it still works the same way. The way that I choose my coaches, the way that I choose my mentors, is by looking at them and seeing myself in them, by understanding their story and thinking, do you know what? I felt like that too, and now look at them. And it's exactly the same thing. So it's about that trust in that ancient relationship. It's kind of like, it's written that way. That's the way it should be. You know, the right people will find us at the right time. And meditation is for everyone, but you are not everybody's teacher. And that's really quite liberating then, because then you can stop trying to tick all the boxes. You can stop trying to do all the things and work with all the people, and just focus on the people that it's really going to have an impact with, because they really resonate with what you're saying. Does that make sense? If you're still watching, let me know. If you're watching on the replay, comment and let me know if that resonates and makes sense for you. So essentially, I'm nearly at the end of everything that I wanted to say. There was just one more thing that I wanted to say about how important you are in this process. So I mentioned this yesterday. I spoke about how essentially, that's okay, Emma. So Emma's going off to teach minis, which is our class for 2-year-olds. Thank you, Emma. I will see you soon. Thank you for joining us. So, and she's saying it absolutely makes sense. So, what was I saying? Oh, yes. So, yesterday I spoke about how Exhale is just an extension of me. So everything that you see in the Exhale experience is all the things that I love. So I've just taught you through why that is the case there. But in terms of you, how do you sprinkle yourself into your brand? How do you sprinkle more you into what you're doing? knowing that that is the secret ingredient, the first step is to fall in love with who you are yourself. It's really interesting. I'll talk to some instructors when they first come and join us, and they're like, this is authentically me. I'm like, we need to see more of you. You need to show up more. You need to let down those barriers a bit. And they'll say to me, but I am. And I'm like, I feel like there's still a barrier there. So it's like peeling back an onion. We want to take off each of these layers, and it's a journey, it's a process. But that's got to be the first step, is that you start to understand and discover what makes you tick. So when I was in that really dark place with my little boy, I had no clue what made me happy anymore. I had no clue what I liked to do. I'd just become this teacher, because I was still teaching in college, and a mum, and there was nothing in between. There was no me left. And what's amazing now is there's so much more of me. So the first thing is to look at yourself and say, right, what do I value? What are my skills? What are my passions? And that might be, actually, do you know what? I love music. So that's why I put music in here. It might be that you look at your meditation classes and think, you know what could make this feel more like me? Maybe it's that you read a quote out at the beginning. Maybe it's that you use oracle cards or tarot cards. Maybe it's that you, like we said before, that you use aromatherapy, or like Chloe's doing. She's merged her love of the moon with her classes. So her classes each week, they're going to look at the different phases of the moon and looking at how we can, I don't know, I can't remember, I mean, Chloe is the expert, but essentially on the week where it's the new moon, they're going to be setting intentions during their meditations, and on the full moon they're going to be releasing anything that's holding them back. And what is beautiful about what Chloe's done is she's able to merge herself with her practice, and then it's much more easy for people to say, do you know what, that's really interesting to me, that is a little bit of me. Whereas it can feel a little bit bland when the intention is not front and center. Does that make sense? So the first job is to fall back in love with you. One of the techniques that I take my instructors on, or that join me, we had a coaching academy last year when we looked at developing the instructors absolutely through, sorry, I'm just reading the comments. So yeah, we looked at taking instructors on a journey in terms of their professional practice, but also with working with their confidence, looking at their limiting beliefs and all those kind of things. So let me just sort this out for a minute. Here we go. I'm just getting rid of these. Here we go. Oops. Sorry, Chloe. There we go. Let me just get rid of these. Somebody was commenting. There we go. Right, I'm back with you. I'm here with you. So, yes, so one of the things that I take my instructors on a little journey, looking back at how can we fall in love with ourselves? How can we understand what makes us tick? How can we start to explore our likes, our dislikes, so that we're then able to stand there and say, this is what I stand for. This is what my the transformation is that I'm offering people. And all those things that I've already said. One of the techniques was to look at your life on a timeline. So what I get my instructors to do is get an A4 piece of paper, draw a line down the middle, and have a look at plotting dates along that timeline of their life. And it's looking at from when they were born to where they are right now, not analysing it, but literally looking at that, saying, what are the standout moments to me, the good and the bad? And not thinking this is what I should put down, because that is just society talking. That is just our conditioning talking. That's just our upbringing talking. And it's not your soul talking. But when I allow myself to be free and I just pop on that list, my standout memories, what that allows me to do is to have a look at all the positive things that are on that list. And remember, I'm doing positive and negative memories, things that literally, when I think about my life, what are the moments that stand out to me, plot them on that list. you're then able to look at the positive ones and say, these are the things that light me up. These are my values. This is what I appreciate. This is what I love. So to give you an example, on my timeline, one of the things that kept cropping up on mine was the times when I've been to Disney World, because I love magic. I love the sense of excitement that's in the air. I love the notion of dreams come true. You know, that is part of what I stand for. That's part of who I am. Also, the things that cropped up on there was not necessarily like the birth of my little boy and things that you thought should go on there as the most exciting, happiest moments of my life. It was the things, these are the genuine things that come to my mind when I think about my life. One of them was going to Ibiza when I was younger and enjoying the dancing and just, you know, not even having a drink, just literally dancing from morning till night and everything in between, with the neon colours and the lights and the music. And hence, exhale is an expression of that. Those are the things that I value. So that's what I want you to do as your little action point before I go. So that's your homework, if you like. Remember that this is all about, if you are going to get to the point where you are able to teach and work with people like Google, like ITV, celebrities, and fill out festivals, we filled out, the video I put out this morning was at the Om Yoga show. That was full to the brim. We couldn't get any more people in that class. If you want to get to that point, it takes commitment. It takes massive action. So what I want you to do is do some homework today. Pick one of the things we've spoken about, but this is the one that's potentially the most powerful. It's like looking at those things that make you you. On the sort of the negative side of things, anything that feels uncomfortable, you've got an opportunity there to explore it and think, what was missing in that moment, because they become my needs. So anything that is along that timeline that isn't necessarily a positive experience that makes you feel a bit uncomfortable, in your own time, if you want to, and you can just park that, that's fine. But if you want to, you can explore what was missing, what was not present in that moment, and they're my needs. And then for a lot of my instructors, what's come out in that is that they love and need community and connection. So for them, it's better for them to work in a group setting rather than one-to-one, for example. So there's ways that we can look at your needs in terms of how you operate as a business. So it might be, I'm trying to think of some other examples, but they're the main ones that are coming to mind at the moment. It's like, do I want to work online or do I want to work face-to-face? Do I want to work in packages? Like, do I need a length of time with somebody, or is a short exchange more beneficial for the way that I work? So that's my top tip. So today we have spoke about why reading a meditation script out is not going to be enough the way that the world is right now. We've talked about how to build an experience that is really powerful, not random, it's all intentional, and how to create your own class experience. We've looked at how to honor the student-teacher relationship, how to really lean into that. And what I should say with that is the more that you trust, the more that it will come. So the more that you honor that your clients are your clients and they were always meant to work with you, and that clients that go and work with different meditation teachers, they were always meant to work with them. It just allows you to be so much freer in how you operate, because you can just operate from your own heart space, knowing that that is enough, because you are enough already. And the last thing that I spoke about was sprinkling little bits of you into the way that you work in your business. So tomorrow, for those of you that are signed up to the challenge only, so today I've gone live, and Chloe's saying that's been a big lesson for me. So one of the things that I spoke about there was just trusting that your clients are out there. Chloe is saying that that has been a really big lesson for her, and a big lesson for me. Like, absolutely, I remember being in that place where I'm like, oh gosh, why don't they want to work with me? And like really kind of like that place of need and lack, where I'm like trying to grab onto everybody and try and force them to work with me, which is not a nice place to be, really. It's quite uncomfortable, but we get there in the end. And Chloe's now like I say, really niche down, really providing a beautiful, personalized, bespoke experience. And that is why she does so well at what she does. So I can't remember what I was going to say then, because I just got carried away thinking about Chloe's course, because it is so good. If you are part of the challenge only, you will receive an invite to an exhale session tomorrow live. So if you're not in the challenge group yet, please do let me know. It'll be taking place via Zoom, same time, 11:30 tomorrow, but you will need a Zoom invitation to join us. So if you've ever wondered what an exhale session is like, if you've ever wondered what the exhale experience is, and you want some ideas for yourself, or if you're wondering about training with us, then tomorrow is your opportunity. So thank you so much for joining me. If there's no questions, which I don't think that there are, I'm going to go. Remember that we are here in our group. If you've got questions about how to develop your own meditation practice, if you've got questions about how to expand or grow your meditation business, jump in the group, ask us questions. We're all there ready to help you. So I'll see you all very soon.